Here he is.
Mr. King. Mr. King, aye.
Are there any senators in the chamber wishing to vote or wishing to change their vote? If not, the ayes are 87 and the nays are 8, and the amendment is agreed to.
Want to lay it on the table?
Without objection. Senator from New York.
Number 931, to call it up for a vote at a term determined by the manager of the bill.
Senator from New York, Mrs. Gillibrand, for herself and others, proposes an amendment numbered 931, beginning on page 355.
I request further reading be suspended. I now yield.
Without objection.
I now yield to the chairwoman of the committee for other business.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And let me first thank colleagues. I think we're off to a great start here with our first vote. And before proceeding with Senator Gillibrand's amendment, I would ask unanimous consent that the Sessions Amendment 945 is modified with the changes that are at the desk be agreed to.
Is there objection? Without objection.
Thank you very much.
Madam President.
Senator from New York.
I rise today to urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to join my effort to fight off the proposed $4 billion worth of cuts to the SNAP program, better known as food stamps. I'd like to ask that my amendment 931 be called up for a vote at a time determined by the manager of the bill. When Congress proposes to cut the food stamp program, it is not a nameless, faceless person looking for a handout that suffer. It is hungry children, it's hardworking adults, it's seniors on fixed income, veterans, active duty service members fighting our wars, and the families that stand by them. I heard from a single mom in Queens working full-time at a supermarket, doing all she can to make ends meet, but still struggles in this very tough economy. Her son came home one day from school with a bag in his hand and tells her that he saved his lunch for their dinner and that he asked his best friend if he could have his sandwich to bring home for his mother. Obviously, that mother broke down in tears. She needs food stamps assistance. I heard from a senior in Washington Heights in New York City. She receives a limited, fixed income, not enough to live on. She relies on the SNAP program to pay for food and to just have a small peace of mind. Without that help, just putting food on the table would become impossible. I've heard from veterans all across the country who are making their voices heard to prevent these cuts, like one very brave veteran from Colorado Springs who served in Iraq but was declared medically unfit to continue his service. He was released from the military and returned home. As he was looking for a job and waited for the VA to activate his benefits, he relied on the SNAP program to help his families make ends meet. Going from active duty to food stamps, he described as a culture shock. It was never his plan to go on food stamps, but without that little bit of support, this veteran, his wife and his children would have needlessly suffered. Today, he's back on his feet, working full-time, but the SNAP program was there for him when he needed it, just as it should be. That is who relies on this critically needed assistance to put food on the table. And that is who stands to lose if this Congress follows through with these deep cuts to SNAP. Half of all food stamp recipients are children. 8% are seniors. 1.4 million veteran households receive food stamps. There are some of you here who would have us believe that these children, seniors, and veterans are gaming the system just to take advantage of taxpayers. But the fact is that it's less than 1% of every dollar that goes into this program that is wasted. Less than 1% is evidence of fraud. Imagine if we had that level of efficiency anywhere else in government. In fact, SNAP keeps our economy moving. This money goes straight to the grocery stores, to the store clerks, to the truckers who haul the food from producers all across the country. 16 cents of every SNAP dollar actually goes right back to the farmer who grew the crop, according to the USDA. When we cut $4 billion from SNAP, it means there's $90 less a month going to 500,000 households. Now, to folks in this chamber, $90 a month may not seem like a lot of money, but for a struggling family, that is a week's worth of groceries. Imagine telling your child that they can't eat the last week of every month. Imagine telling your child at night when he says to you, "Mommy, I'm still hungry," that there's nothing you can do about it. As a mother, as a lawmaker, watching a child, a senior, a brave veteran going hungry is something that I will not stand for, and neither should anyone else in this body. Clearly, we have to reduce the debt and the deficit, but hardworking parents, their children, seniors, troops, and veterans are just trying to keep the lights on, trying to make ends meet, trying to put food on the table. They did not spend this nation into debt, and we should not be trying to balance the budget on their backs. They deserve better from us. These are the wrong priorities for America. Instead, the amendment I am proposing would reduce a real source of waste in our budget, and that is corporate welfare for large corporations that do not need it, including insurance companies that are based in Bermuda, Australia, and Switzerland. My amendment already has the support and advocacy of a third of this body. 33 senators have signed a letter saying do not cut food stamps because it protects 500,000 struggling Americans who too often do not have a voice in Washington when they desperately need it. And it makes modest cuts to an already overgenerously corporate welfare system. It's just common sense. Standing by those who are suffering is the core. It's a core value of who we are as Americans. So if it's in your heart, and if you believe that feeding hungry children is the right thing to do, then stand with us. Stand with America's veterans. Stand with the AARP and America's seniors. Stand with struggling families and children all across this nation. Let's keep food on the tables of people who need it. When we do, America will be stronger, and this body will be stronger. I yield the floor. Withhold.
Under the previous order, the Senate stands in recess until 2:15 p.m.
So the Senate's gavelled out for weekly party lunches, but members will return at 2:15 p.m. Eastern to continue work on the $955 billion Farm Bill. That legislation proposes to end direct payments to farmers while creating a revenue protection program designed to compensate farmers for losses not covered by crop insurance. The current Farm Bill expires September 30th. Also this afternoon, a resolution that will reaffirm Congress's support for full implementation of U.S. and international sanctions against Iran. You can follow the Senate live here on C-SPAN 2 when members gavel back in at 2:15 Eastern. A look at the White House.